it is not easy to do mental training, especially when you feel like you're going through a difficult season. That is the hardest time, but it's also the time when it's most effective and clearly when we need it the most, right? So it takes an extra level of mental fortitude, of mental strength to be able to actually do the tools because it is much easier and quite honestly, much more cozy and comfortable to feel sorry for ourselves or to get down or to live in whatever the emotion is, whether it is resentfulness or frustration. Frustration is very common, right? When you're going through a difficult season. Trust me, I get it. But that is when we need all of this work the most because that is when we actually have control in a situation that feels completely out of our control. So whenever you're going through a difficult season where it feels like the circumstances have put you at a disadvantage or have maybe taken away some things that you have worked really hard for, so this is really when we have to ask ourselves a very basic question. Do I want to continue feeling like this every single day? Or am I sick of it? And am I sick of it enough that I am willing to do whatever it takes to get the fuck out of here? Does that kind of make sense? We have to get to that spot. Otherwise, we're going to hem and haw about doing this work and we are not going to see change. And then that will just pile on the frustration anchor, right? Because then we can say, oh, well, I did gratitude for like 4 days and I still feel like shit. You know what I mean? So it actually becomes almost a worse thing because it drags us if we're not really all the way in. And so for you, every single time that thought comes up that is, this sucks or this situation sucks or why is the job market like this or whatever, that moment those thoughts come in, that is your point of inception, right? Because if I let it go, even for a couple minutes while I'm doing my walk or while I'm whatever, loading the dishwasher, it is going to start to drain my energy very, very quickly. And my physical body will start to feel the result, right? I'm going to feel lethargic. I'm going to feel tired. I'm going to be way more annoyed. So those are also ways that you can identify how am I feeling. If those manifestations, I guess, if you're having a hard time kind of like catching your thoughts, check your body, right? How is my body feeling? Is my energy low? And then you can trace it back and be like, oh, well, for the last couple hours, this is what I've been thinking about. So we can use those two in tandem to help us get more accountable and to help us start putting in the work to make the change. So in that moment when the thought comes up, ugh, this sucks, blah, 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 I have to immediately stop it. So I use mental tennis for this one. We have a couple tools we can use. I'll first walk this scenario through in mental tennis. So mental tennis is all about, I just want to reverse the thought. Basically, what is the opposite of thought X? It's the simplest tool on the planet to use because all you have to do is think of what's the opposite. And so you say, opportunities are coming to me. So if the thought is, I'm not getting any opportunities, I'm not getting any interviews, there's no jobs out there for me, then I want to say, fuck that. That isn't helping me. That's not bringing more opportunities to me. So I'm actually going to put the opposite out every single time instead. Opportunities are coming. Opportunities are coming. Something great is going to happen today. Opportunities are lining up for me. Opportunities are coming my way. The right job is out there, right? So I am actively stopping a thought that's creating an outcome I don't want and continuing to have that fester. Because when that happens, I can actually lose more. And I don't want to lose more. I don't want it to get worse, right? So it's stopping that whole process. But what it's starting, which is the most magical part of it all, is it's starting to create what I actually want, which is opportunities. So if you think about it in just a really simple terms, if all I was thinking about was over here, round and round and round about how much this sucks, where am I opening a door for opportunities to come to me? It just, There aren't, right? I'm basically going in a roundabout. I'm stuck in the middle of a roundabout. And I can't find an exit. I'm just going round and round and round, right? The second I start using mental tennis, which is forcing me to figure out an alternate outcome, AKA I want opportunities to come to me. Now I've finally put in my GPS that which exit to take. And now I can get off the roundabout and I can start on my merry little way. Does that make sense? So as soon as I start saying things like opportunities are coming my way, the right job is out there, it's okay, I got this, right? So I'm just talking to myself through it, but I'm constantly focusing on the part that I want, which is people are reaching out to me, doors are opening, opportunities are coming, right? That is how I visualize it, is it's laying the pavement on the road ahead. So not only did it finally give me an exit, which exit to take to get off the roundabout, but it's actually creating that road so that I can zoom down it. None of that happens when I'm just going round and round and round in feeling all these negative feelings. So if you can kind of logically understand that, at least for me, then it's much easier for me to double down and do the work because it makes logical sense to me. I don't want to do something where I have no out, right? I don't want to lock myself in this box where I have no exit. I want to believe that I can create an exit and I can create an outcome that I want, even if I only have a 1% shot of that happening. To me, that is worth it because I already know exactly what it feels like to live today over and over again, and I'm not cool with that. So does that kind of help, like, you understand like why it is so critical, and also like that the work that you're doing is going to have an impact? It just needs you to be super consistent with it. It needs you to really be like, I can't fucking go back. There's no other alternative. I have to turn that 1% into a 5%, 5% into a 20%, right? Like that is something I legitimately do control that is going to bring me opportunities. So am I frustrated they're not happening right now? Of course. But if I focus on that, I'm going to go right back into that roundabout. So writing down kind of the outcomes that you want helps a lot because then you can come up with them really quick in the moment. But you can say things are turning around. Things are getting better every day. I believe good things are coming my way. Good things are going to come my way. Abundance is flowing. Abundance is coming to me. I have faith. I trust the process. It's getting better, right? So all of that is actually creating all that so that it can start happening. It can't happen when I'm not putting it out there, when I'm not identifying it and focusing on it. So then, like everything else, what I focus on expands, right? So it takes a little while. I always tell clients it takes about 30 days of you being really hyper diligent and doing this work. After 30 days, you'll feel a major momentum shift and things are just going to start lining up and going your way. What tends to happen is things go so good, so great after about 30 days that you forget to do this work. And then you can have a seesaw where you kind of go back and forth and back and forth. And we don't want that either. We want to continue to grow. We want things to get better and to stay better and to continue on that trajectory. And so it's super important to catch those thoughts when they happen and force the turnaround. Because we just are in a position that we just can't have anything, we just can't risk anything else happening. So I think if we can do that, gratitude is obviously a big piece of that. But the second piece is actually this mental training piece where I'm actively putting out the thought I want, right? Because gratitude alone is probably adding to your frustration a little bit, right? Because that still feels a little bit like I'm going around and around and around in circles. Because I need that direction. This is what I want instead. I want great opportunities. I want an amazing salary to come my way. I want money to start flowing. I want amazing people in my life. I want to have the best friendships. I want to feel fantastic. I want to radiate love and abundance. I want people to be around me. I want my phone to be blowing up because everyone wants to be around me, like whatever your hopes and dreams are, right? So if that's what I focus on, it has no choice but to start coming to me. Does that help a little bit? A tool that you can use is powered pause. So power pause is actually super effective when you're going through a season, especially related to job, or anything financial that is pretty frustrating, because that always takes precedent in our brain and it really wants to grab all of our focus. The power of pause is just asking yourself one very simple question. Is there anything I can do about this right now? So, in other words, me thinking about it in this moment while I'm driving the car or washing the dishes, is it solving the problem? If the answer to that question is no, then I have to force myself to change the topic in my head. Because again, if I don't, I'm going to be creating that problem bigger and bigger and bigger and longer into my future. And so I literally tell myself, hey, there is nothing I can do about it right now. So I'm not even going to think about it. It's not helping the problem, not going to do it. And the next piece of that is you tell yourself, I'll sit down on Monday morning and I will get a notepad and I'll flesh it out. I'll see if I can come up with some other solutions, right? So your brain kind of needs a little reassurance that this is not more of the roundabout situation, but that you are actively working on solving the problem. So it doesn't need to remind you 79 million times a day. You're like, I'm on this. And then you immediately start thinking about anything you want. And that's where your live list comes in. That's where your dream it comes in. So that if you can switch a thought of lack or stress or frustration into a thought of joy, you are multiplying your manifesting speed. So if you can go from that to, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great if I was with my love and we were doing XYZ, we were walking on the beach in Tahiti, like, and I'm just off in a little daydream. Now, that might seem really silly, but it's super important because it is training your brain to go to a place that makes you happy. And as soon as you are in a vibration that is of ease and happiness, then you can start manifesting the answer to this problem. So it feels on the surface like, what the fuck? How is this solving my problem? But trust me, it is. It's because you have to get out of that struggle energy and into the energy of ease and joy in order for things to start moving and happening the way that you want them to. So those are your two tools. I want you to use them aggressively this week. Aggressively, aggressively, triple down. Be like, fuck anything else. I'm over this. And then come back next week. And if you have been aggressive about it, your energy is going to be much higher next week. I promise you. There's no way that can't happen.